Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back for some more modifications, and we're gonna start the new year off with a bang, because not one, not two, but three. That's right, three starter packs here tonight. The Donkey Kong, aka Galaga, Space Invaders, and Pac Man, all three here tonight. Let's get it started on here. We're gonna start things off first with the Pac Man on here. Now, what the starter pack is, basically, some people had issues with the prior images, whether it was the on and off switch, the image wouldn't work for them. So what these are without the switches, without the on and off, without the volume. Now, you could always add those in. Just, you know, I would recommend doing all your controls and everything. Once you have it all complete, make a backup of your image. Same way you write in the image to the card to restore it, you could make a backup of that. So this way, if something does go wrong with the on and off switch, you could always go back to, so you don't have to configure everything again multiple times. So that I do recommend. So first, I would go through this whole video, and then there's a link in the description to the switches tutorial if you want the on and off switch to work on your machine. But right now, this one is, like I said, it's the starter pack. It's only going to include a few games on each machine, as I will be releasing more each week. New packs each week will be released, and it also allows you to add what you want to add on there. So I'm not just going to throw a whole bunch of random games on there. This way you could choose and pick which ones you want on there. Your button layouts, you know. So I have, I think, like 10 on each machine. I think Space Invaders got an extra 5 just because of the button layout. So all those will be in the description on there to download. But let's get things started. We're going to start off first with the Pac-Man. Now, on the Pac-Man, it's a 4-way joystick on here. So the type of games you're going to get is just a 4-way joystick with no buttons on there. And there's quite a few of those. But then also, there's 2 separate folders. The other folder is if you want to use these as buttons for your games, which will allow for 1-button games, you know, on here with the joystick. And I'm going to show you how to configure how to do that without any other additional buttons and still be able to do the 1-button games. But like I said, if you don't want to use that, you could just download the 4-way games on there without the buttons. So that, like I said, that's up to you. You could choose and pick which ones you want. But I'm going to show setup here for both on there. I would recommend getting like a coin door on here. I'm eventually going to get for all these. All you need is a one coin door. Once I get that, I will show the tutorial on those as well. It just makes things a lot easier on some of the games on there, because some of them on the dip switches, like Dig Dog, is so annoying on there. But without further ado, like I said, we're going to start things up. We got to set up our controls as always, the number one thing. So make sure your image formatted your card on there, SD formatter, and then you wrote the image in on there. And all 3 machines are going to use the vertical one. So make sure you download the vertical startup kit on there. Write in the image on there with either Wind32 Imager or through Apple Pie Baker, depending if you're on a PC or a Mac. And then once that's written in, plug that in, plug in a keyboard on there, and I'm going to boot this one up. Alright, so we're all booted up. We got our image on here. First thing we're going to need, let's set up our keyboard on here. So as always, just hold the key down on the keyboard, and then let's configure this up, down, left, right. Your start and select, and then A, B, X, Y, R, and then skip all the analogs, because obviously we have no analogs on the keyboard. Alright, and your hotkey should be your select button. And press A for OK. And then we're going to set up our control on here. And we only got 2 buttons on here. Press start on your keyboard, scroll down to configure input, press A again, And this time we're gonna hold down one of these buttons here. So hold that down. It detects it. We got our up, down, left, right. I'm gonna skip the start and select. So hold the button instead of pressing it. When you hold it, it's gonna skip through it. And I'm gonna make this as A and this as B. It's just so much easier because you're gonna need to navigate. This will allow us to navigate through here, so we could at least go forward and back with A or B. Okay, and it's also gonna be good because our player 1 here is our A button, and that will also be the button that will load the run the continue on the image once the game image comes up. So we don't even have to configure anything on the Joystick key. And then your hotkey here is going to be the player 1. Okay, click OK. And that's it. We have no other joystick or buttons to configure. We're going to go into RetroArch just to set up the our exit, to have both of these buttons pressed together as our exit. So press B here, go to your options, and then we're going to scroll down to RetroArch. If you have this as A and B, you could navigate with this actually on here. So we're going to go down to Settings, press A, Input, and this is the one we're going to concern about, hotkeys. Press that, and then look for the up here, quit RetroArch. Okay, we're going to want to make that, actually it already is, as our player this one, player 2. Okay, and then just make sure your hotkey should be the O button, which it is, which is the player 1. And then if you see anyone else that's any other buttons on here that indicate auto, like these save state, you can make them also as your player 2. This way there's no other hotkeys will be operated on here. Okay, so that's saved on here. If you have other buttons, or like I said, if you have a select button, then you could set it up differently. You could use that as your coin button, but on this setup we don't. So that's it, we're done here. So we're gonna go back, press B again, B again, and then until we get to the main screen here, then go down to configuration file and make sure you save your save current configuration. Okay, on the bottom there it's going to say saved new file. If it does, that means everything worked, and then we could quit out of here. So our exit will be working on here. Next thing you want to do, set up your Wi-Fi down here. If you need your IP, you could get your IP right there. And then before we bring in the games, actually go to your Raspberry config. A lot of times it does it automatically when you put it, but just in case it did not, you want to go to Advanced Options and then click the first one, Expand File System. Okay, this will resize the image, so when you start bringing the games in, it's not going to say it's full on there. And then as always, also go to your interfacing options and make sure SSH right here is enabled, which it is. Then we're gonna click on finish, and then I do recommend rebooting on there once you have that. So what I'm going to show you guys now is what games on here. There's 5 games that are just the joystick, no buttons, and 5 games that use the 1 button on here. So I'm going to show you games now which are included in the starter pack. And like I said, I will be releasing new packs, add-ons to this on here, which you could just add on, to this image each week. So here's the starter pack of the 10 games on the Pac Man. Alright, so basically you're gonna move in all your images or the games in, and I did sort them through in the ROMs folder. You'll see a 0 button or a 1 button. So if you only want the joystick games with no buttons on here, you could just select that folder. If you want both, you could drop both of them in, and basically you're gonna move your ROMs into the main arcade folder. Your marquees will go in the marquees, and your images will go in the image folder. You know, so just got to use either WinSCP if you're on Windows or Cyberduck on the Mac, and log in there with RetroPie. Then Pi is the username, Raspberry is your password, and go to the main RetroPie folder, then arcade, and then everything should go in there. The folders are already created. So once you drop those in, back on the Raspberry Pi here, just hit start. You don't have to restart the system, just restart emulation station on here, and this will get the games appear if you haven't rebooted yet. So there we go, we have our arcade games in there. We're going to go into that folder, and then here's our games that we dropped in. Okay, first I'm going to show you the games that are have no buttons. Okay, the first one on here is going to be Frogger. Now we're going to press the A button to launch it, and then press the A button again to bring up the selection of the emulator. We're going to have to set our default as MAME 2003. All these games on here are going to be using MAME 2003 on there, so we just need to make that change. So click on Frogger, and then let's bring up the run command on there. You're going to have to press it twice because the first one is going to clear the launch image, and then the next one is going to bring up this dialog box. So the first one on there, which is set as arcade MAME right now, you want to change that. Press start and then go down to MAME 2003. Okay, and if we pick as the first one, it's going to set for all of them, so we don't have to do this again on here. If we were just doing for each ROM, you would pick the second one. Alright, and then this should launch all the games perfectly. You could go down to launch here, and let's test out Frogger. First things I like to do on all the games is to check the dip switches on here and to see if there's free play available. If there is, it makes things much easier on here without any coins. If it doesn't, there's still ways to go around it to make this work. Alright, so on MAME 2003, you could go through the RetroArch menu, which is your hotkey and the X button, or you could just simply go through tab. I like just going through tab because everything's right there in front of you. So let's do that. Let's hit tab on the keyboard, and like I said, first we're going to check our dip switches on here. For Frogger, here's our coins. Everything's 111. We're going to check them on here, and unfortunately Frogger does not have free play on here. So we're going to leave everything as 1111. That's fine. Here you could change your lives and everything if you wanted to. Okay, but we're going to leave everything else the same. Okay, so we're going to go into input, and you want to do the game because the first one is going to do for every game. So let's pick the input for this game. Alright, and then you want to set all the controls here, like the up, down, left, right. Player 1 and 2 is going to use the same one on here, but the ones I'm concerned about here is the coins. Okay, so we're going to do coin 2 is going to be here, our player 2. Okay, coin 1 is going to be our first one. Okay, then we have our left, right. Player 2 start will be down here, and player 1 start will be up here, the first one. Okay, and everything else should be fine on the controls. If there aren't on here, like say configure, just press start and then click up, down, left, right if you need to, but looks like on here everything is set up right. Alright, then we're going to return to menu on here. Okay, and return the game. Sometimes you may have to restart on here for it to work. So we're going to test this out. I'm going to try this. So press player 1, gets our coin on there, and then if we press 1 again, it'll start up as one player. Okay, let me back out on here. Okay, and the same thing should work for to have 2 players. So when we put the coins here, if we press the second one down here, if we press it again, we're gonna get 1 or 2 players. So if we press this one, we'll get 2 players. This will start out 1 player. Press 2, and now 2 players work. So Frogger's great. Frogger, everything works. You know, unlike Dig Dog, this thing works on here, which is great. So I like Frogger. All right, so we're gonna back out on here. We have our hotkey set. You just press both buttons, and you're backed out. All right, so let's go to the next game, which is Junior Pac-Man. We don't have to go to the run command again on here because we already have it set. So everything's on main 2003. It's going to load up the ROM. Let's hit tab again. Once again, let's check our dip switches on here. Check the coinage here. And this one does have free play, which is great. So if they do, let's set free play. If you have a coin door on here, then obviously you don't want to use free play. You'll use the coins, but like this, without no extra buttons or coin thing, select free play. Like I said, it makes things so much easier on here. You have your other options if you want to modify. And then when we go into game, if there is free play, it just makes it easier. You don't even have to use this coin. What I do, I even take it out on here. So I pick a button like on the keyboard. This way it won't interfere with any button on here. So we don't need any coins up down, but you need the player 1 start and you need player 2 start. Okay, so then return the menu. Now a lot of times on here you're gonna need to restart it, so I'm gonna restart and go back in there, and now free play should be working, you know. Let's load it up. Alright, and we're good to go. So now if we want 1 player, 2 player, I'm going to try 2 players, and that's it. We're set for 2 players. So free play works, 1 or 2 players, everything's configured. So alright, let's get out of this one. So like I said, when there's free play, it's so much easier. And generally, the Pac-Mans on here do have it, which is great. Dip switches, go to coinage. Yeah, this has free play too. So I'm not gonna, like I said, the same thing we just did on Junior Pac-Man. We're gonna do here. So I'm not even gonna bother with that. Let me back out. All right, let's load it up. Check the dip switches. And there we go, this got free play through. So far all the Pac-Mans have it, which is great, makes the setup that much easier. Alright, Pac-Man's loaded, press tab, go to dip switches, and this has it too. So all Pac-Mans on there will have it, you know. Yeah, so all Pac-Mans will have it. The Junior Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man Plus, and the regular Pac-Man. So I'm not even going to go over there. It's going to be the same setup as we just did for Junior Pac-Man. Put the free play, and it just makes things so much easier. So that takes care of the no buttons. Like I said, the no button ones, you're going to have no issues on there having this play with no coins or select button on there. So that's how you would set that up. Now I'm going to go to the ones that do have the buttons. And the way we want to set this up, if we don't have a coin, like I said, I'm eventually going to get a coin door. It's going to make things much easier. Because some of these games, especially like Dig Dog, it's terrible. And like it won't let you make the start button as 2 separate buttons. You can only make it as 1, and that makes things much difficult. But what we're going to do is, our coin, if they don't have free play, our coin will always be up here. So then this way when we're moving, we're playing, we're hitting this button and we're not hitting no coins. Because it's so annoying if you're jumping or shooting, firing in Galaga and you keep hitting the coins. So we don't want to have that. So coin would always be up here. Okay, and our action button is going to be down here, and then depending on what switches, if they got free play or not, or they allow us on there, we'll make it play either 2 or only 1 player. All right, so I'll go to Space Invaders on here. Now for Space Invaders, unfortunately it doesn't have free play, and it doesn't even have the option where you could change this to 2 credits on there, you know, and we don't want to put the coin here. But what you could do, the way I was able to get this into 1 and 2 players, basically you have your coin, which you're going to make this as your button 1. That's the only coin one on here. And then both player 2 and player 1 is going to be your start, and this is also going to be your fire button. Okay, so this is going to be 3 functions: 2 player start, 1 player start, and player 1 button. Okay, so now once we have it set up like this, return the menu, and then return the menu again. Okay, I just put a coin in on here, so we have 1 credit. Now if I press this button on here, it's going to start this up as 1 player only. Okay, so it's only 1 player right now, so we only had one credit. Okay, and here's our fire button. Okay, so fire works, and it doesn't throw any additional coins on the screen, and it's only 1 player right now. Now if I back out, we're going to do the same thing again, and this time when I put the coin in, if I put another coin, now I get the option of doing 1 or 2 players. Since we have 2 credits on here, when we press this, it's going to set up for 2 players. So that's how you get 2 players or 1 player. Like I said, just make this your coin, make this your player 1 start, player 2 start, and your fire button. So now we're playing, we're able to fire, play as 2 players on here, able to shoot, you're not adding any coins or anything on here. And Space Invaders, surprisingly, it works fine, works perfect. Okay, so I'm going to back out now. So, and then PacMania, you're going to do the same thing. PacMania, just as Space Invaders, you're going to make it as your coin button over here, and your player 1 start, player 2 start, and your jump button. Okay, so all 3 down here, and then you'll have the option of playing 1 or 2 players on that one. Okay, then let's load up Galaga. Now Galaga's good because Galaga has the free play on here. So that's what we're going to do first. Go to dip switches on here and change that to free play. Okay, once we have free play on here, it's just going to make things so much easier when we input the game here. Player 1 button is going to be down here as your fire. Player 2 is going to be the same thing. And then we're going to make player 1 start up there. Oops, I hit the wrong one. Player 1 start, and then player 2 start down here. Okay, coins, we don't have to worry about anything on here. I'll actually take them out. This way it doesn't interfere, so it's not going to be either one of those buttons. Okay, so we have player 1, player 2 start, and then this as your fire button. Okay, then we back out. We just got to restart it on here to get the free play. So let's go back to Galaga. And this one's going to work perfectly as well with the button. And on this one you could do the fire button on either one. I just like using this one better because if you use this one you tend to hit the other button. So now with free play on, we're able to pick 1 or 2 players. Okay, if we want 2 players, we got it set up. And here's our fire, and we're moving. So Galaga's good, it's set. And then this leaves the last three: Donkey Kong, Dig Dug, and Super Pac-Man. Alright, now Donkey Kong is a bit weird on here, but we are able to get this working. I'm going to show you guys how. Unfortunately, Donkey Kong does not have free play on here. When we go to dip switches, you're able to change like the credits on there, but even with that, it still does not allow us. Well, what you could do is here, your button 1 up here, you know, it's going to be this as always. Same thing for player 2. Now, this is where it gets a bit different. You know, the coin's going to stay up here, so you're going to hit coin, but you're also going to make it as 2 players start. Okay, and our 1 player start will be up here. Okay, if you do that, because for some reason it doesn't do like Space Invaders and Pac-Man, it won't let us start. It won't let us put start player 1 and player 2 start on the same button. So that's why. So when we go back to the menu on here, we're gonna put a coin in. So now it's a 1. If I press this, it's gonna start up 1 player. Okay, but if I put another coin in now, we're set for 2 players. Okay, so that's how you get Donkey Kong to work, 2 players on here with the controls. I was messing around this all day, and finally I got it to work on here. So that works, and now here comes player 2. Okay, then we back out. I'm going to show you. So it's just a little bit different than the Space Invaders. And if you wanted 1 player, what you're going to do, you're going to put 1 credit on here, and then you're going to press start. Now it's only 1 player. Alright, so that's how you get 2 players or 1 player in Donkey Kong. Just make sure your buttons are set up like that. Do we have to do Dig Dug? Oh, I forgot. We still got to do Super Pac-Man. I hate Dig Dug with a passion. I love the game, but setup. Alright, now on Super Pac-Man, unfortunately on this one, whatever we do on here, we can only set it up as 1 player or only 2 player. So best thing here is just make it as a 1 player game on here. It doesn't have free play on here. It does have 2 separate dip switches here for 2 different coins, but I tried everything, putting it as 2 credits on here instead of 1. It just won't allow it. Like, you can't set this as both your player 1 and 2 start, and you can't put this along with your coin. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna make player 1 button. Your action button's gonna be down here as always, and then you're gonna put your coin up here. Okay, and then player 1 start's gonna be down here. Unfortunately, you can't do player 2. Player 2 start regardless. We can't do it whether we put it as A or B, and I'm going to show you guys on here. But as long as you put coin here, coin 1, and then player 1 start here in action, you'll be able to play this 1 player. Like I said, it's not like you could play this 2 players simultaneously anyway. So basically we put a coin in here, and now if I press this, it's going to start it. Even if I put another coin, it's just going to start up as 1 player. So this one's only 1 player, but it does work. Everything on here, you just won't be able to play as 2 players on there. Okay, and I saved the best for last, Dig Dug. This one, same thing. With the dip switches, you're going to make this as your coin, and you're going to make this as your action, your pump button on here, and your player 1 start. Unfortunately, this one also, you could only play it as 1 player on here. And that takes care of Pac-Man on there. Like I said, I'll be releasing new packs hopefully each week on here. Let me know in the comments if there's one that you particularly want, whether it's a no button game, just joystick, or one that has just the one button on here, and I'll see if I could add that on there, and we'll move on to the next machine. Alright, now on our Galaga machine on here, we do have the extra button on here, which should help on some of the games that we only play, like the Dig Dug, we're only play one player on the Pac-Man machine. That's going to help a lot. Controls is going to be the same setup as the Pac-Man. Make this your A, B, and then you're just going to add in another button, X. So just skip the select and start again. Just do A, B, X on here. This way, and make this your hotkey and your exit. This way both these buttons press will exit. This will be to continue on the game launching images, so we don't have to change anything. Enjoy the key. So A, B, X, and your controls here. And depending if you're going to keep this as only a two-way machine, meaning just going left and right on here, in the folder you'll see I split it between two-way and four-way on there. If you do changes to a four-way joystick, then obviously you could do both two-way and four-way games. But if you don't, then you just want to move the two-way ROMs, images, the marquees from there. So depending style. Now if you only keep it as two-way, also in the RetroPie setup on the controls, you're still going to need to input the up and down on there. It won't let you skip the joystick controls like the buttons, so keep that in mind. Alright, so we got everything set up here. Let's take a look here. Let's see what games here we have. I have 5 two-way games and 5 four-way games. Let's take a look. Alright, so those are the games. Most of them same as the Pac-Man, so I'm not gonna go over like the Space Invaders is gonna be the same setup as applies for both Space Invaders 1 and 2. Same setup where it's make this your coin button only, and then make this both player 1 and player 2 start. So depending how many coins you have, if you only do 1 coin, you hit this will start up 1 player. If you hit this twice, you get 2 credits. Now if you hit this, you're gonna start up a 2-player game, you know, and this will be your fire button. Now you don't have to use this, you'll have it right here. So like I said, that applies both for both Space Invaders 1 and 2. And same thing with the Galaga. Galaga has the free play on here, so you're just gonna do player 1 start, player 2 start, your fire. And same thing with Galaxian. Galaxian has the free play on there. Okay, Miss Pac-Man applies the same thing. That's free play, and that's no buttons on here, just the joystick, and that has free play, so same things apply to that. Alright, now for all 3 Donkey Kongs on here, we could do this one of 2 ways. On the Pac-Man machine, we kind of got this working, but it was a weird setup where we had coin here, and then player 1 start here, and then player 2 start here. So kind of flipped it because we didn't want to make this as a coin button because that's our jump. That was our jump button as well. But since we have this button here now, we could make player 1 as our coin, and also player 1 as our start button, and then player 2 as our coin and start. And the way you do that, let me load up Donkey Kong. What you would do, because if you hit, if you put coin here in player 1, once you hit this, it's going to start up the game. It's not going to give you an option to put another coin. When we hit tab on here, we go to our input. What you got to do is for coin 1, there's only one coin slot on here. You got to put both of them. See, I have A and B. Okay, let me just take that out from there. So if you were going to do that, basically you would hit the enter button here and then pick a button. So I'm going to do button 1, A. Then don't move up or down. Do it again. Press enter again, and now pick player 2. So now we have A or B. And what you would do, if I hit this one now, it's gonna add one coin and it's gonna start player 1. Okay, but if I do this twice, I'm gonna get a coin in on here. See, right now it would still be player 1, and I press it again. Now we have 2 players set up. So, you know, you could do it this way, or the other option, which I'm going to show on the Dig Dog. Let me back out of this one. So you could do this for all 3 Donkey Kongs. Now what you have to do on Dig, because Dig Dog's weird, Dig Dog's different, where on Pac-Man we were only able to play this one player, you know. You're going to do this for Dig Dog and Mappy, and you could also do it for the Donkey Kongs if you want, but I like using the start buttons. This is what we do for Dig Dog to get 1 player and 2 player to work on here. It's not going to be anything with the dip switches on here, unfortunately. There's nothing on here for this one. But if we go to our input, what we're going to do is we're going to make this our coin button. That's it. And we're going to make this our player 2 start. Okay, and we'll make this as our player 1 start. So basically you're going to put a coin in, and then once you put 1 coin, you could hit this to start 1 player, or you could put another coin and then start up 2 players. Okay, and the way that's done, if we hit tab, we go to input. See, I have coin 1 as my A button. Button 1 is X, is this one, but then player 1 start is also X on here. For some reason Dig Dog doesn't allow you to do coin and start on the same buttons. That's why we can't do the same as Donkey Kong. So we'll use this as our coin, because we're not going to be using this during the game. We're just going to be using this, and having the start on here is not going to affect the action button on here anyway. So coin, player 2 start, and player 1 start on here. And like I said, if you want to do the same setup, you could do the same for Donkey Kong, or you could do the other option. So if we back out here, I throw my coin on here. Now it's 1 player. So if I hit this right now, it's going to start with 1 player. But if I put another coin, 2 players, and I do this, now we have 2 players in Dig Dog. Okay, so with this, with the Galaga setup, you are able to do 2 players, and you would also do this same thing do for Mappy. Okay, so I'll take care of Mappy, and that does all the games on here. Okay, and then all right, and then now I'm gonna go to the last machine, the Space Invaders. Yeah. Save the best for last here. Yours and my favorite, the Space Invaders machine here. Now, Couple of things to note. You'll see in the file and the folders there, I have it separated between 2-way games, 4-way games, and 8-way games on here, depending what you want to use on here. Now, because of the layout here, we're able to use 2 buttons here as opposed to the Galaga one where we can't do this. I personally use this, I make this a 8-way joystick on there, and I have I'm using a joystick from Do-It-Yourself Retro Arcade, which actually I could always switch between a 4-way or a 8-way on there. So if I get bored of this, I could switch it back to a 4-way, but I'm going to keep it as 8-way because my Donkey Kong here, which is the Galaga machine, is going to be playing my 4-way games on here. Because 4-way games mainly are no buttons or 1 buttons. You know, there might be some rare 2-button ones, but mainly they're 1 or no buttons. Whereas the 2-button games are mainly 8-way on here. So if you have a 8-way control on here, joystick, you could play any of the 2-way games and the 8-way. The 4-way is kind of different. I mean, some people don't mind playing it, but like playing Pac-Man with an 8-way is not the same. But if you don't mind that, like I said, if you're not anal about that, then you could put all of them on here. Like I said, I leave that up to you guys, what you want to keep on here. If this is your only machine on here, I would go with the 4-way because, you know, the game lists, the Donkey Kongs, you know, Burger Time, all that are much better on the 4-way. But if you have, let's say, both machines, or you have the Pac-Man on here, then you may want to go with the 8-way on here. Or if you plan on getting like the Galaga in the future time, like I said, you could always switch. If you get this joystick here, you can always switch it between a 4-way and an 8-way. So keep that in mind on here. Now, I'm not going to go over all the 2-way and the 4-way games because it's pretty much the same thing that's on here that we just did, and it's the same layout. So keep this as A, B, and X, you know, just how we did there. Now, the only thing on here, what I would recommend, you'll also see 2 image files where I have our exit, where we have our hotkey and our exit button as either these 2 buttons or these 2. The reason why I do that, if you're not going to use the 2-button games, if you're, let's say you're only going to do the 1-button game or just the joystick itself, then you could do these as the exit. But if you're gonna do that 8-way with the 2 buttons, sometimes what happens, if you have this as your exit, you might be hitting this button and then come over to this, and sometimes if you're just coming off on there, you could trigger the exit as hitting both of these buttons together. So you don't want to exit out the game. So to prevent that, like I said, I would put this as the exit and your hotkey here and exiting the game this way, because you'll never hit these 2. Even if you're playing just a 1-button game here, you won't, and if you're playing the 2 buttons here, that'll never happen. Whereas if you're playing the 2-button game here, very likely could happen easily, you know. So let me bring up the list here. Like I said, we did the. Let me show you guys. If you do go with the 8-way, what type of games you're gonna see on this bill. Alright, so there you go. There's 15 games actually here on the starter pack on here. Like I said, I'm not going to go over the ones we just did because it's pretty much the same thing, same type of amount of buttons we have here. And then for the ones that are the 2 8-way games on here, It's actually pretty simple. Alright, first I gotta select the emulator on here. So I'm gonna go with alright, and all these games on here, just as the Galaga and the Pac Man, they're all using MAME 2003, so make sure you change that as the emulator you're gonna run. And let me bring up 1942 is a 2-button game, so let me start that up. And basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna make this as your coin button. This will be your coin, because you're never gonna use this button in a 2-button game. And then your player 1 start here, player 2 start. So if they do have free play, you could put it on, but it really doesn't matter on here. So this one does have free play, so you wouldn't even have to do the coins. But let's say if it doesn't, I'm gonna just do it here just in case if it didn't have it. What you would do is when you input the game here, we make this our player 1 start. We make this as our player 2 start. And then our coin would be right here. And then right, player 1 button 1 will be here. Player 2 button 2 will be right here. And then same thing for player 2. Player 2 button 1 and player 2 button 2. Alright. So if it doesn't have free play, like I said, this one does, but this is what how you're gonna set it up. So basically now I hit this for my coin, and then I could start up 1-player game or 2-player game. There's your fire, your loop, then you got your fire, your loop button. So, and like I said, the start buttons are not gonna matter. Once again, I would insert my coins. Now I could do 2 players, so the 2 players start, and there we go. So that's the difference on there. Like I said, have this as your coin, player 1 start, and whatever your first button action is, player 2 start here, and whatever your second button is. Alright, so that takes care of that on here, and that goes for all the games on here. And then once we're done here, we configured all our controls and everything. Go to options, go to your run command first, and then if you don't want that dialog box to come up on there which says, you know, what emulator you want to pick, so nobody press that, you could disable that up here. Leave this one disabled always, the second one. And then here, that's got to be enabled, so your button works to get the image off the screen. And then change the 2 to, I don't know, as many seconds as you want, so the image stays up there until you press a button. Alright, and then we could go, the last thing we have to go is to our RetroPie setup. This will, we have to put, because we're going to go into attract mode, and we want to have this boot up into attract mode every time, not into emulation. So to do that, we pick auto start here, go to manual edit, and then press delete emulation station, and type in attract. Okay, there we go, attract auto. And then once you have that, go down, press tab, go down to OK, hit enter. I'm going to back out here, back out, and then let's do a perform reboot. So when we boot up again, we're gonna it should take us into attract mode. And And there we go. Now we're in the track mode. Alright. Hit tab on your keyboard. Let's go up to emulators. Hit enter. Go up to arcade. And then scroll down to generate a ROM list. Every time you add in new games and stuff, you're always going to need to do this here. Alright. Hit enter. Overwrite. Yes. Now when we back out here, we should see our games on the main menu here, which we do. Alright, so we have those on here. And then lastly, you gotta get your controls on here. So go hit tab again, go to controls. Now if you're only using a two-way joystick on here, then you want to make your up and down. You want to make up as your left on the joystick and down as your right, because you're definitely going to need to move up and down. Alright, but here I got an 8-way, so I'm going to put all of them. There's up, so I put it down. Make sure select game here, your select game button, whichever one you want. I'll make this my A button. And if you want to add anything else here, you could. If not, you know, if you're done with the configuration, we'll go back and back again. And that's it. We're set here. Now we can move with our joystick. We got our games. We can load it up. There's Galaxian. And then press your player 1, start up the game. That's all there to it. So that's the 3 images on here. Check those out. Leave a comment below, and then any suggestions on my next additional pack, add-on pack here for either of these 3 machines. Let me know if there's something you guys want to see or want me to include. If not, like I said, I'm gonna try to release like a 10 pack for each every week on here, depending on the feedback we get on this. Alright, I hope everyone had a good New Year's on here, and 2020 we're gonna see some good stuff here. I got a lot of stuff planned out here. You know how we had to switch here with the buttons on there? I'm gonna get rid of that problem on here. I guarantee you guys this year, 2020, we're gonna have the option of holding player 1 down for a couple of seconds to exit. I'm gonna get that feature for us on here. And then I still have other machines. I know I have to do the Rampage again. I might mod the Golden Tee, put like I don't know, put my like a bowling games on there as well. I want to do also this. I don't know if I showed you guys this part of the room. We got a projector over here. Got a screen here. This is a great low budget projector. It's like a little bit over $200, but this thing is great. This thing shoots great quality. I'm thinking of doing like a ultimate media pack. It's gonna be like the I don't know, like just crazy. I'm gonna put it's gonna take me a couple of days. I'll probably have installments on there, like different parts, but I'm thinking about doing like a console thing with the Raspberry Pi on here and getting this big screen there. You gotta go big, you know. I'll do like you know, like the consoles, like the NES, Super Nintendo, Atari, like all the consoles, and also I'll add in the movies like Cody. We'll put all our movies. We'll put all our, you know, live streams, like the sport games, like, you know, that you get on DirecTV, or like the pay-per-views, like UFC and stuff. Movies that are in theaters and all that with Cody. So it'll be like an ultimate media device. It'll be you have your movies and your consoles all in one pack on there. Let me know if you guys are interested in that. I could do that here for 2020. And also, I know I want to get that Turtles 4-player on here. I mean, we have the 3-player here, but I want to do the 4-player. And I'm hoping they get the NBA Jam at CES. That'd be great, because they do. That's a 3-button 4-player, and we could do a lot of stuff with that one. So, but that's it. Let me know what you guys think on here. I got pretty much everything updated. Just Rampage is left on here. I'll try to get to that later on in the week. All right. Good night, everybody.